And we'll help book them a rental. Hey, Deb.
Out!
Now at noon, former President Trump speaking out today on the stunning assassination attempt as we learn more details about the gunman who opened fire during a rally on Saturday. Thanks for joining us for the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. The assassination attempt left former President Trump bloody from an injury to his ear, but also defiant. One bystander was killed, 2 others seriously injured before the gunman was killed by the Secret Service. We have live team coverage of the shooting and reaction from lawmakers. We're going to start with KTLA 5's Lauren Lister live in the newsroom with the latest developments. Lauren?
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, the Republican National Convention kicking off in Milwaukee, and Trump is reportedly there as planned, less than 48 hours since an attempt on his life, as authorities search for the shooter's motive, and we're learning stunning new details about the moments before shots were fired, as authorities investigate how a gunman was able to get so close and open fire on a former president. In his first interview since the attack, Trump telling the New York Post, quote, "I shouldn't be here. I'm supposed to be dead," saying he would be had he not have just turned his head slightly to read a chart at that rally, recalling the moments he was shot with a bullet that he reports hit the upper part of his right ear, all caught on camera. The former president commending the Secret Service in that New York Post interview for the moments you see here when they rushed in to shield him, and for gunning down the shooter moments after he fired 6 to 8 rounds from a roof around 150 yards from where Trump was speaking at that rally, hitting Trump, killing a spectator, and critically injuring 2 more. We'll have a lot more on those victims later in the show. Trump was minutes into his speech, a little after 6 p.m. local time in Butler, Pennsylvania. The FBI now investigating this as an assassination attempt and also potential act of domestic terror. They believe the shooter acted alone, and this image shows the blurred body of that shooter on the roof after he had been killed. You can't see much, but you can at least see where it was. We'll show you in a map in a moment. Secret Service said he fired from an elevated position outside of the rally's security perimeter and venue. Some disturbing new details emerging, though. Law enforcement sources tell CBS Network News bystanders spotted the shooter with a rifle on a roof and reported his presence to authorities. The sheriff of Butler County said a local cop was hoisted by another officer to look on the roof, with the shooter pointing his rifle at the officer, who let go and fell off. President Biden has ordered an independent review of security, and head of Homeland Security, which oversees Secret Service, saying this to CNN.
When I say that something like this cannot happen, we are speaking of a failure. We are going to analyze through an independent review how that occurred, why it occurred, and make recommendations and findings to make sure it doesn't happen again.
The FBI has identified the shooter as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crook, seen here in old video. He's from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, a middle-class suburb near Pittsburgh, about an hour's drive from Saturday's Trump rally. He has no criminal history, worked as a dietary aide in a nursing home, and had recently graduated from community college. He was a member of an area club with a 200-yard rifle range. Officials say they recovered an AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle from his body Saturday that was legally purchased by the shooter's father. The FBI does have his phone, along with a rudimentary explosive that was found among his belongings. He was registered Republican, but had also donated $15 to a progressive cause in 2021. Federal authorities say he had no apparent history of mental health issues or previous threats. KTLA's Chip Yost is actually covering this in Pennsylvania for us, and he spoke to a former classmate who described him this way.
I knew him from school just because he was bullied. I mean, he was bullied, he was outcast. Really had no friends. He always had just that bland emotion on his face, just so serious.
And we're going to go live now, actually, to the Republican National Convention happening in Milwaukee.
California. California, 169 delegates.
California represents nearly 5.4 million registered Republicans, more than any other state in the nation. From its pristine beaches to its soaring mountains, from expansive deserts to the redwood forests, the Golden State is responsible for securing today's GOP House majority. It will be the state responsible for returning a House majority to Washington this November so that President Trump has a partner in Congress to support his common sense agenda. With the largest delegation in the nation, Madam Secretary, the great state of California proudly casts all of its 169 votes for President Donald Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, California, 169 votes, President Trump. Tennessee.
All right, that's a live look at the GOP convention in Milwaukee. The California delegation, obviously supporting President Donald Trump with their 169 delegate votes. Later today, we're supposed to learn who President Trump's vice presidential pick will be, and we will hear him speak on Friday or Thursday.
Yeah, and again, those candidates need to clinch about 1,215 of the votes of the delegation and that's what's up for grabs, 2,429. So he's getting close. It's kind of cool that we were able to dip in right when California, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, several politicians from both sides of the aisle voicing concerns over the rally shooting.
President Biden addressed the nation last night from the Oval Office to speak out against political violence in our country. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang joining us now in the studio with more. Kimberly?
Glenn Lewis's reaction comes in condemnation of the shooting at former President Trump's rally crossed party lines. President Biden and others are calling on Americans to lower the temperature in our politics.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done.
Republican and Democratic leaders reacted, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, who wrote, "Violence has no place in our democracy. My thoughts are with President Trump and everyone impacted at the rally." Representative Adam Schiff shared a similar message. "There's no place for political violence in our democracy. Absolutely none. Grateful for the swift response by law enforcement and Secret Service." Former House Speaker Representative Nancy Pelosi, whose husband Paul Pelosi was violently assaulted in their home in 2022, said, "As one whose family has been the victim of political violence, I know firsthand that political violence of any kind has no place in our society. I thank God that former President Trump is safe." LA Mayor Karen Bass also condemned the act and added, "I wish former President Trump a full recovery and my thoughts are with all of those impacted." Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson said the horrific act of political violence should be unanimously and forcefully condemned. He told NBC's Today Show that President Biden should be called out for political attacks on Trump, which he said contributed to a heated political environment. Johnson specifically referenced recent comments by Biden during a call with political donors in which Biden used a metaphor saying it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. He said he knows Biden didn't mean what was implied, but said that language on either side should be called out. He said it needs to be clear that we can have vigorous debate, but it needs to end there. Johnson also blamed the media and Hollywood elites for the charged atmosphere.
There's no figure in American history, at least in the modern era, maybe since Lincoln, who's been so vilified and really persecuted by media and, Hollywood elites, political figures, even the legal system.
This is a moment where all leaders have a responsibility to speak and act with moral clarity, where all leaders need to take down the temperature and rise above the hateful rhetoric that exists and search for a better, brighter future for this nation.
Some international leaders also reacting. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said we pray for his safety and speedy recovery. And Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said, in part, we have been adversaries, but I wish President Trump health and long life, and I repudiate that attack. Reporting live in the studio, Kimberly Chang, KTLA 5 News.
All right, we have some breaking news now from the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance has been selected as former President Donald Trump's running mate. The announcement came just moments ago. Vance was among a short list of potential VP picks. That included Florida Senator Marco Rubio and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Vance is expected to address the convention on Wednesday night. KTLA face Samantha Cortese is watching the developments and will have a full report coming up. Meantime, a judge has dismissed the federal classified documents case against former President Trump.
KTLA 5's Alina Abovian joining us live in the News Center with the latest on that decision. Hi, Alina.
Hi, good afternoon. Well, this was a major legal threat against former President Donald Trump, but now the judge presiding over this case has decided to toss it out. Take a look at this. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon said the order this morning, the superseding indictment is dismissed because special counsel Jack Smith's appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the United States Constitution. Now, Judge Cannon, who was appointed by Trump during his presidency to serve in the Southern District of Florida, has directed the clerk to officially close the case. Essentially, Judge Cannon deemed special counsel Smith, who filed the charges against Trump, was illegally appointed by the Justice Department. The former president faces 40 charges stemming from his handling of documents marked classified after leaving office and allegedly obstructing Justice Department's investigation. In 2022, the FBI executed a search warrant of Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, tied to the case. This was an extraordinary and historic move to search the home of a former president. Now, Mr. Trump responding to the news of the dismissal, posting this on social media, saying, as we move forward in our united of our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed by quickly the dismissal of the witch hunts. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, also responding to this by saying, as we work to unify this country following the failed assassination attempt of President Trump, we must also work to end the lawfare and political witch hunts that have unfairly targeted President Trump and destroyed the American people's faith in our system of justice. Now, Judge Cannon's decision, however, can still be appealed and overturned by a higher court. That is the very latest. I'm Lena Bovin here in News Center. We'll send it back to you.
Alina, thank you. And of course, stay with us here at KTLA.